expected to be in court this morning because the father had accepted a plea agreement to second-degree murder, which could have carried as much as 30 years in prison. But instead of coming in to take account for what has occurred here, we have been informed and we have confirmed that the father took his own life last night.
Some names, details, and events have been altered for privacy and dramatic purposes. While every effort has been made to ensure accuracy, certain information may not be factually verified. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Some of these cases remain unsolved to this day.
Anything.
She's dead. Like, I need to be with her right now.
Oh my God, my no! No!
The tragic death of Christopher Scholtes, the father convicted in his daughter's hot car death, found dead before prison sentence, and the new lawsuit that followed. Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Murder Mysteris, the channel where we break down America's most haunting true crime stories and uncover the truth hidden beneath the surface. Today's case comes from Arizona, and it is one of those stories that shake even the most seasoned followers of true crime. It is a case filled with tragedy, guilt, and secrets. And even after the main suspect's death, it continues to unfold in shocking ways. Before we continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more in-depth coverage of the cases that matter most, and it ensures that these stories and the victims behind them are never forgotten. This is the story of Christopher Scholtes, a father who was found dead.
Okay. So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my baby.
Not at all. I know that. And I know this isn't easy for you. That's why I'm trying to be straightforward and honest with you, okay? I don't want to keep any secrets. I don't want to hide anything for you. Someone's going to talk to you.
Just days before beginning a long prison sentence for the death of his 2-year-old daughter, Parker. But what seemed like the tragic end of a devastating story has now taken a turn that no one expected. One of his surviving children has filed a lawsuit against him, revealing new allegations and bringing to light a series of disturbing family details that were once kept in silence. It begins with a hot summer day in Arizona, the kind of day that can easily reach temperatures above 100 degrees. It was June of 2020 when emergency responders were called to a home in Gilbert, Arizona, after reports of a child found unresponsive inside a vehicle. That child was 2-year-old Parker Scholtes. When officers arrived, they discovered that the toddler had been left in the back seat of a car for several hours. Despite resuscitation efforts, Parker was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators immediately began piecing together what had happened, and it did not take long before their attention turned to Parker's father, Christopher Scholtes. At first, Scholtes told police that Parker's death had been a tragic accident. He said he had simply forgotten that his daughter was still in the car after returning home from running errands. He claimed exhaustion and stress had clouded his memory. But as detectives began asking more questions, inconsistencies started to surface. Scholtes' timeline did not add up. Investigators noted that he had made several stops that day, and there were gaps in his story that raised suspicion. Witnesses also recalled seeing Scholtes acting strangely, and one neighbor described him as agitated and disoriented when police arrived. Eventually, Scholtes' account unraveled under scrutiny, and prosecutors charged him with second-degree murder and child abuse, alleging that his actions were reckless and preventable. The courtroom proceedings were heartbreaking. The prosecution painted a picture of negligence, a father who prioritized his own needs over the safety of his young child. They revealed that Parker had been in the car for more than 3 hours, trapped in a vehicle that reached well over 100 degrees inside. By the time she was found, it was far too late. The defense, however, pushed back, arguing that Scholtes had not acted with intent. They portrayed him as a man overwhelmed by mental health struggles, grief, and pressure. Still, the evidence was too strong to ignore.
I just wanted to say that no one understands how great of a tragedy this is more than myself, my girls, my remaining 2 daughters, and Christopher. So not only do we have to move forward with grieving for my daughter, but we potentially could be losing their father. So the absolute worst case scenario for our family is if Chris were be away from us.
After lengthy legal proceedings, Scholtes was convicted and sentenced to serve between 20 and 30 years in prison. The community's reaction was mixed. Some felt justice had been served, while others saw the case as a tragic example of how one mistake can destroy an entire family. But before Scholtes could begin his sentence, tragedy struck again. Just days before he was to report to prison, Christopher Scholtes was found dead. His cause of death has not been officially confirmed, but early reports indicate that it may have been suicide. Authorities discovered his body at his residence, and no foul play was suspected. For many, this marked a grim and final end to the Scholtes story, a case that had already taken a devastating toll on everyone involved. However, the story did not end there. In a shocking development, another one of Scholtes' children filed a civil lawsuit against him, even after his death. The lawsuit, which surfaced earlier this year, accuses Scholtes of creating a dangerous and abusive environment for his children long before Parker's death. It also alleges emotional and physical trauma, negligence, and concealment of family misconduct. The lawsuit's details, revealed in documents obtained by Law and Crime, suggest that there were deep, unresolved issues within the Scholtes household, issues that may have contributed to the tragic chain of events that ended Parker's life. Arizona trial attorney Dwayne Cates spoke about the legal implications, explaining that such posthumous lawsuits are rare but possible when victims seek justice or compensation from an estate. According to the filing, the surviving child, whose identity has been withheld for privacy reasons, claims that Scholtes' actions extended beyond one moment of negligence. The document accuses him of willful disregard for the welfare of his children and of creating a pattern of endangerment and emotional instability. While some may question the timing of this lawsuit, experts suggest it reflects the long-lasting trauma such tragedies can inflict on families. As Jesse Weber from Law and Crime reported, this lawsuit not only raises new questions about Scholtes' behavior, but also about how such warning signs may have been missed before the death of little Parker. During the trial, prosecutors had referenced evidence that suggested Scholtes was under stress, dealing with personal conflicts and substance issues, though the defense argued that none of these directly caused Parker's death. Forensic psychologists have pointed out that cases like this often involve complex layers of grief, guilt, and denial. In interviews following the case, those close to the family described Scholtes as a broken man, someone who could not live with what had happened. His death left behind a web of unresolved pain, guilt, and unanswered questions. The new lawsuit aims to bring closure, but it also reopens old wounds. Legal experts have noted that the process could take months, even years, as courts determine what assets remain from Scholtes' estate and whether any restitution can be made. But beyond the legal implications, the emotional toll remains staggering. A family torn apart, a young child gone too soon, and a father who never lived long enough to face the full weight of his sentence. In reviewing the timeline of events, it is clear that the Scholtes case represents more than one man's tragic mistake. It highlights systemic failures in recognizing signs of distress within families and the devastating consequences of ignoring them. From the first emergency call to the courtroom drama and the shocking aftermath, every step of this case has revealed another layer of tragedy. Investigators say that cases like Parker's are painful reminders of how quickly heat-related deaths can occur, especially in states like Arizona, where vehicle interiors can become lethal in minutes. Even a few moments of distraction can lead to irreversible loss. For viewers and families watching this story, the message is both heartbreaking and vital. Accountability, awareness, and mental health support are key to preventing such devastating outcomes. Christopher Scholtes' story may have ended in tragedy, but its echoes,